My teachers usually say, Poa is like a Lama usually, or oftentimes a highly realized Lama can perform Poa on a person in such a way that they help you, they say that when your consciousness leaves through your, when your clear light mind leaves through your feet, you're more likely, or you're likely to be reborn in the lower realms, whereas if it leaves through the crown of your head, you're born in the higher realms. So the Lama is helping you to pull out your clear light mind through the top of your head. But, my teachers always say the best Poa practice is generating bodhicitta when you die. Right? I mean, to have someone else succeed or not succeed, because my karma is so strong, a lot of people, there are people who would like their Lama to perform Poa on them. Which, yeah, it doesn't harm, but it's best to perform your own Poa. It's okay, no problem. It's okay. You perform your own Poa. In the sense that if you generate compassion and love as you're dying, you're basically, that's why the last thought counts. I mean, we don't know. Remember the 12 links as we went through them? And you have all these little karmic seeds with you. Well, we don't know which one is going to ripen, do we? We don't know. And of course, sometimes it's the one we have the strongest tendency for, the one that we've repeated, if a similar action we've repeated time and time again, or if it's really powerfully negative or positive, then it's more likely that that ripens. But we don't really know that. If, on the other hand, we generate a really positive mind, like, may my death be meaningful for everyone, may I continue to be of benefit to others, that is the best Poa practice, because then you cause the ripening of a positive karma that gives you the opportunities and so forth that you require if you really pursue this. Does that make sense? Yeah. So while that's another reason for doing this death meditation, is to keep aware, but also to keep mindful of virtuous thoughts. Yeah. To be prepared when death comes. Like, let's say a car comes towards you suddenly, and you think, "Oh, I may die." Try to generate a positive mind. Try to do it, because you don't know whether it's going to hit you or not. In fact, the best is, of course, to generate bodhicitta first thing in the morning and try to keep it throughout the day. And then if something hits you on the head, you're well prepared. At least you're well prepared for your own death. Right? Okay. Anyway, let's have some questions. Are we still okay with with the meditation at the end? Okay. So, Luca, please go ahead.
One question would be, is lucid dreaming necessary for Tukdam, or is shamatha more necessary for Tukdam?
So Tukdam means, Tukdam, the word he uses, the Tibetan word, is this, this meditation on the clear light mind of death for those who remain. Oh, there's so many things that are necessary. So many. But of the two, is shamatha more important?
Probably shamatha is prerequisite.
It's important. Shamatha is definitely.
Is it a prerequisite for lucid dreaming?
No. There are a lot of people who do. So lucid dreaming, I don't think is absolutely necessary. It helps. Is shamatha also? Well, a certain degree of concentration. Actually, shamatha in the way it is defined as like fully qualified, even for that, I don't think you need to have shamatha. Because, I mean, they're like, actually what I said before, it is not that difficult to remain in the clear light. It is not as difficult as we may think. But that's not necessarily then a tantric practice. You see what I'm saying? If you just keep attentive, then it's nice to stay in the clear light, but you're not actually necessarily moving towards enlightenment. It doesn't become a practice, just as lucid dreaming isn't. I mean, my teachers used to say, just because someone remains in the clear light is not such a big deal. It's better than what ordinarily people are able to do, but you don't know whether it's combined with everything else. So to do the completion stage practice, utilize the death stage on the basis of the completion stage practice, for that you would need shamatha. Does that make sense? Yeah, so this is just one tool. Your death is just one tool. But to make it this kind of practice, you need a lot more. And you need to, usually you receive instructions from a Lama because everyone's body is different. So these explanations I gave you, they're very much based on the main Tantra in the Giluk tradition. The main Tantra, the Guhya Samaja Tantra. And that's usually followed to get this understanding. But if, for instance, Guhya Samaja is not suitable for you because your body is different, there are other practices. Every tantric practice is designated to fit the body of a particular practitioner in the best way. In terms of it's got nothing to do with better or worse, it's just different. And so then everything I said before is slightly different. Yeah, it needs to be adjusted. There's Kala Chakra, there's Heruka, there's Vajra, there's Yamantaka, so many practices. And it always depends on, and unfortunately this part we usually don't know first, so a Lama, a fully qualified Lama can tell us. But the emphasis on a fully qualified. So someone, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, perfect. Or Jadu Rinpoche, Kyabche Jadu Rinpoche, perfect. Lama Zopa Rinpoche, perfect. Would have been, but of course, he's on his way back to us, so we have to wait. Yeah.
Another question, you said that this moment of the clear light emerging is like there's a moment where you passed out or it's like
Just previously.
So if one does goes to do a clear light in lucid dreaming, is the same? Would it be the same?
Similar. It's not the same. Even the clear light is not the same, but similar. Yes, that's why you can use lucid dreaming. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Beat.
What can you do with somebody who's dying, or if we are dying in the West, because there are these strict rules and you don't have the chance to leave the body for 3 days.
No, that's true.
In which way is all this must be,
Okay.
imagine a lot of disturbance.
Good question. I mean, first of all, to read the book, Enjoy Death. I think that's a good book to read. It gives a lot of instructions for all these different scenarios. But also, if the person dies in a hospice, there are a lot of hospices. I know one hospice near the town I live in, and I know some of the people there, so I visited, and they leave the body for 3 days. They're awesome. Oh yes, they have the permit to do that. They leave the body, so you could find out. And they have no... the founders had some Hindu background, but he was actually a Protestant priest who was open to all sorts of other traditions and also Buddhism and so forth. But yeah, he just thought that's what we did in the past, so I want to continue that, and it's possible. So to find out which hospices do that, that's one way to do it. But you know what is good is to generate, if a person follows a certain faith, for instance, Christianity, remind them of Jesus, right? If they follow Judaism, there are these great rabbis, right? Really compassionate kind. Remind them if they have faith in that rabbi or in some of the figures of the Torah, for instance. So in Christianity, Jesus or Muhammad, someone, if they believe in someone. If they don't have any faith, just to have that positive state of being inspired and so forth, like this virtuous state, I don't know, it's difficult, like anything that, if you know the person well, what brings forth, like what leads to a virtuous mind? What would trigger a virtuous mind in their continuum? If you remind them of loved ones, that could trigger attachment. So if they're attached to Jesus, it's not as bad because they're about to meet Jesus. So it's not like, oh, I have to leave behind my child versus I'm going to meet Jesus. So it's the second, Jesus is safer in that case. But yeah, anything that triggers some virtue in their mind, right? Yeah, it's important to just be with them and say, I'm with you. Just that, I'm with you. Don't worry, I'll be with you the whole time. You're not alone. You're not alone. I'm with you. And just calm their mind in the best way you can. Maybe stroke them as long as they can still feel that. But show them all that love. Yeah? And then they will respond with love. And that's the good mind. That's the mind you want them to have. Before, There's no longer any conscious thought. Did you want to add something to it?
And for ourselves, how could we prepare so?
Death meditation, you've done it a few days ago, so go through the fact that we could die every day. Remember every day. You could just do one of these shorter Lamrim prayers by Lama Tsongkhapa, for instance, the Foundation of All Good Qualities, as an example. That's pretty short, and there are others as well. So doing these prayers, and you go through the Lamrim in that way, right? And you're reminded of your own death, spend some time meditating on it, and maybe even go through these stages if you want, just to remain conscious. I mean, but visualize your own death. Visualize you're lying there and generate love and compassion. Visualize, so you're no longer scared. When we go through this without being unprepared, well, we've done it so many times, but we don't remember. We don't remember our past lives. So it catches us unaware in such a way that our fear may prevent us from generating love and compassion. But if you're like, okay, one day I'm going to lie there, got to leave everything